Okay, guys, so today we're going to make a really quick one pan eggplant parmesan. This is going to be without the breading and without all the frying. So it's going to be a lot more healthier than the traditional way of making it. So, and it's also a quicker way if you just want something, quick to eat. So I'm going to start by, see if I could get, because I'm right-handed. So let me see. I'm going to cut mine in an angle. You could cut yours round if you want, but I like to cut mine on an angle. And don't cut them too thick, because this is all going in one frying pan and going into the oven, and it's going to cook like that. We're not frying it at all. And you can peel yours if you like. I leave the skin on mine. Also, if you want, before you do anything else, after you finish slicing this up, you could salt it, layering each layer with salt, and then pressing it with something heavy. Put a paper towel over it, press it with something heavy, a heavy frying pan or anything that you have that's heavy, and it'll let out a lot of the acidity that's already in the eggplant. So if you have a sensitive stomach and you want to get rid of the acidity in here, just start each layer, sprinkle salt, a little salt on each layer of eggplant, and when you're done, you press something heavy on top. So you put them in a colander, and then you just press it and just let all the water drip out. So I was doing it. I put a few layers down here, and I sprinkle some salt, and then I put more layers on, sprinkle some salt, and then just press it with something heavy. Put it in a strainer, and when you're done, place something heavy on it, and it'll leave it for about a half hour or so. And when you come back and look, you'll see all the water, all this water full of acidity is out of it. Okay. So being that we're not gonna bread these, and the flavoring is mostly, it's all in the breading, I'm gonna just season these up. Put them in a bowl and season it up before I start layering them. Okay. So just a little bit of salt, and just a little bit, at a time. And you could put it in a bigger bowl and just do it all together. I just want to make sure I got, enough seasoning on everything. Some pepper, some Italian seasoning is a must, of course. Garlic powder. This thing, doing it this way, I mean, when you're seasoning your own eggplant or whatever, you put in as much seasoning as you want, or as little as you want. I'm going to sprinkle on some of this nutritional yeast. Okay. Just going to mix it up. And then I'm just going to place more in and add a little more seasoning. Make sure all the seasoning is distributed throughout all the eggplant. It smells so good already. So this eggplant is going to be, it's oil free, and it's gluten free. I mean, we could easily use gluten free breadcrumbs or gluten free flour, but some people want to cut back on their calories or what have you, and this is another alternative way to doing it, and it tastes good as well. More salt, a little more pepper, and more garlic, onion powder, and some seasoning, Italian seasoning. And usually when I do this, I do the whole frying, I do the breading, the frying, the homemade pasta sauce, the homemade cheese, the homemade ricotta. I already have ricotta made from the last video that I did. So for the ricotta and the mozzarella recipe, I'll link that in this video today for you guys. The sauce, I'm just using regular jar sauce today. I'm not going through the whole process of making homemade sauce, because this is just something that's going to be quick and easy for everybody to do. If you don't want to make your own cheese, you could get your favorite vegan mozzarella and your favorite vegan ricotta and use that. So you can see that this is all mixed up. Everything has the seasoning on it. It's nicely seasoned. Okay, I'm going to start layering this into a frying pan with the sauce and all the cheeses. Okay, so here I have some shredded up homemade mozzarella. And here is my homemade ricotta that I made from the last video. And all I did was freeze them. And you see how nicely they hold up in the freezer. Okay, so let me get my pan and my sauce and we'll start layering. So here I have a large skillet. Also, I put my oven on to preheat at 350. So here's the skillet. And what I'm going to do first, I just have a regular jar of sauce, pasta sauce. And I'm not going to lie, this 365 pasta sauce, the garlic, is the best jar sauce that I've had ever. And it's really good. So I'll leave the link for this also. You know, like I said, normally for customers or cooking for, family, a lot of, a special occasion, I would make my own sauce. But in this case, this video is just to make a quick meal. For people who work a lot, come home, they're hungry, they want something healthy, but they want it quick. This is it. You can start prepping this the night before. So what we're going to do is, we're going to put some sauce in the pan. And we're just going to mix it around. Yep, get that sauce all over. Okay, next, start with the larger ones on the bottom. And since this is a round pan, it's going to be kind of like a puzzle. Okay. Yeah, don't be afraid. I mean, feel free to little pieces here and there. You need to fill up spaces. You can do that as well, because this is going to come together really nice, and we're going to be able to cut it, and it's going to come out that one beautiful piece when you cut it. Okay, so this is pretty much okay like this. And what I want to do now is I want to add just a little more sauce to the top of this. Because basically it's going to be cooking in the sauce and the steam from the sauce, because we're going to have to cover this with some foil before we put it in the oven. Okay. Pretty simple, right? Next, we'll lay down the ricotta. This homemade ricotta, it takes on such a beautiful texture when it cooks in the oven, or even, if you're cooking it something on some stove top. It takes on a really beautiful texture. Okay, we got that. And next, we're going to use the homemade mozzarella. Like I said, you don't have to make your own. You could just use your favorite vegan cheese products. And it's that simple, guys. I'm going to lay more. Another layer. All right, this one, eggplant. It was a pretty large eggplant. Maybe got me 2 layers. That one got me a pan of 2-layer eggplant Parmesan. Okay, so let's do the sauce again. Okay. Let me just layer down some of this first. I'm gonna put some of this to fill in some of the, okay. You could make this with some gluten-free pasta. And in this case, what I'm going to do is, I am going to make, when this is all done, I'm going to make an eggplant Parmesan hero. Just the last remaining little ones, just lay them here, lay them around the pan. Put that one skin side down. Just like that. And I guess we'll got a little bit of ricotta left, so I'm just going to use the last of the ricotta that I have. Okay. That easy. Top it with the cheese, the mozzarella cheese. Go. Put a little sauce on top. Okay. Okay. And there it is. I'm just gonna cover this up with foil and pop it into a preheated 350-degree oven for about 30-35 minutes. When the eggplant is cooked through, and it shouldn't take this one long because it's only 2 layers of eggplant. When it's cooked through, I'm going to remove the foil and just I'm going to turn up the temperature and on the oven to about 400, just so it gets that nice brown bubbly crispy top. There it is, nice and covered in the oven. Gonna leave it there for about, I know I said 30-35 minutes, but I think I'm just gonna go for 20 to 25 minutes since there's only 2 layers, and I did slice them kind of thin. So we'll see how as it cooks how it goes. I'll just check if it needs to stay in longer, then I'll leave it in longer, but I don't think it's gonna need to have to stay in there for a full 30 minutes. Okay. Okay, I'm going to leave it in for a little while longer. When you place the fork in, you feel it's still a little too firm. So I'm going to leave it in for 5 more minutes. And that's how can you tell. You just stick a fork in it, and if it's a little too firm for the fork to go through still, it means it just needs more time. So I'm going to cover it back up and put it back in the oven. Okay. this. Oh yeah, that's ready. I'm just gonna turn up the temperature to 400 and let it brown up a little. And then we can start well, I'd rather wait for it to cool down before I actually put it in the bread for the Parmesan, the eggplant Parmesan here. I think I'm gonna take it out now. It smells amazing. Okay, so I took it out the oven. Usually I would put it under the broiler on high for a few minutes just to get that brown crispiness, but I didn't. I just put it on 400. Should have put maybe 425, but either way, it looks amazing. It really does look amazing. This the ricotta. You see how brown it's starting to brown? I'm gonna let this sit for like at least 5 minutes. Because right now everything is gonna be really, really soft. I just want it just a little bit firm. So when we cut into it, it doesn't fall apart. But this is it. This is your 1-pan eggplant Parmesan without the breading or the frying, and it still smells just as delicious as it would if you had breaded it. So let's just let this sit for about 5 minutes just to settle, and then we'll come back and we'll cut into it. Okay, so here it is. Fresh out the oven, waited a few minutes. What I want to show you guys is how the ricotta cooks up, the texture that it takes. Oh my god, do you see that? That's the mozzarella cheese on top. Look, that is such a beautiful texture that it takes on. And that's the mozzarella. Look at that. So what I'm going to do is now, this is so good. I can't help myself. This is just so good. What I'm going to do is now, I got myself a hero bread. And I'm going to just cut out some of the eggplant right here. Now if you want, you could add more sauce to it when you put it on the bread or not. It's up to you. Look at that. We'll get that bread nice and filled. Look at this. This is beautiful. Over here. Now what I want to do is just get some more of that cheese on top of there. Okay, I'm going to add some extra mozzarella cheese on top. Like I said, if you want to add extra sauce, you can do that. I'm just going to add a little more extra mozzarella. And being that this is already hot, what I'm going to do is I am just going to cover the bread a little with the foil. So that way the bread doesn't really burn, but it gets toasted. If the eggplant is room temperature, I would put it in the bread, wrap it up in foil, stick it in the oven at 350, let everything warm through. Then open up the foil and place more cheese on it and leave it opened in the oven until everything on it melts. So I'm going to put this back in a 350-degree oven, and I'm going to place it on a sheet pan. I get this on the sheet pan here, and I'm going to place it on in a 350 oven, 350-degree oven that's already preheated, and just let that cheese melt. So here it is. I popped it under the broiler for a while. Being that it was already hot and all I had to do was put the cheese on top, I popped it under the broiler for about 5 minutes. And the bread is nice and crispy and the cheese is melted. But this is beautiful. When that gives you an issue because the cheese melted on the bottom, there you go. Here it is. Let's try to cut this without making, it's gonna a giant mess, but I should actually let it cool off first, but not cool, but you know, let it sit so it could settle for like 5 minutes. But for time's sakes, let's cut it now. Oh my God. Look at that. And it's so hot. It's extremely hot. I want to taste it, but it's so hot. I'm going to take a bite out of this. And remember, these heroes are always messy. And you, like I said, you can either get yourself gluten-free bread, or you can make this with some gluten-free pasta. The pasta with some salad on the side makes a beautiful, beautiful meal. So let's try this. Hot. It's got that little bit of tang from the sauce. And you could definitely taste all the savory seasonings that were layered in between each layer of eggplant. It's really good. And guys, I appreciate you. And thank you for watching this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you like it. Also, feel free to share. Leave any questions that you may have in the comments, and I'll be happy to answer them. So I wish it wasn't as hot as it was, but it's a really quick, fast, and delicious, healthy meal to make, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Here's what's in the pan. Thank you again, guys. I love you, and I appreciate you. Until next time, this is Mary from Mary's Vacant Table. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your week.